This is an Eye on Annapolis bonus podcast.
All right, well, today we're going to be chatting with Lance Hoppen, who is the founding member, bassist, and all-around cornerstone of the classic band Orleans, the group behind hits like Dance With Me, Love Takes Time, and, of course, Still the One. They're going to be coming to Annapolis one night only. That's Saturday, the 28th of June at Ram's Head on stage. I just peeked. There are a small bunch of tickets left. I'm talking like I can count them almost on both of my hands. Lance, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good, John. Thanks for having me.
Good. Well, it's been a decade since you've been here. You were last here back in 2015. What's changed with Orleans since you last were in Annapolis?
Oh, God. You were right. 2015, we were there with Paul Barrere and Fred Tackett from Little Feat. That was we did a bunch of shows that summer with them doing their duo thing. Little Feat being a big influence on Orleans, actually. What's changed? Geez. Since 2015, well, we've had turnover. John Hall is retired from the live band in spring of 22, which left me being the last of the original four still touring as Orleans. I've still got my younger brother Lane on keys and singing. He's been there 26 years. And then the other guys are more recent, 2018 for our drummer and the two guitarists, more recent than that, just the last few years. But I'll tell you what, this quintet is every bit as every other version of Orleans. I mean, it's not the band of the 70s, but and we've had, maybe 15 people come through, singers, players, add their contributions and move on over those years, always anchored by two or three of us. So a lot of different, pluses and minuses with each version, but this one is every bit as strong as any other version in its own right. So I think people will be really pleased with what they have to hear and see.
Well, we are totally looking forward to it on the 28th when you come here into Annapolis. For those that have never caught you guys live, what can we expect when you come to Annapolis?
Well, the hits, obviously, and some fan favorites that have persevered over the years, and then some things that, the people are less familiar with that just seem to work live all the time. Easy to absorb on first listening, and then maybe even some brand new stuff, because we've just completed 3 or 4 new things for what was supposed to be our 50th anniversary album, which was 3 years ago. We got started and we never finished, but now we've got new momentum, and with the help of these new guys, actually, as well as John Hall being involved, we're trying to finish that project and get it out for the holidays.
Did you ever think that you would utter that sentence, we're looking at our 50th anniversary?
No way. Well, I not in the first 20 years, because, the history of the band was we put 5 years in, and then John left and we broke up, and then we reunited, and then it fell apart again, and then we reunited with John, Larry and me, and then fell apart again, and then we reunited. It was like that. So after a while, I stopped thinking, well, that must be it, because it always popped out of the coffin when you least expect it. And I think we've been going pretty nonstop since 2000. So one way or another, as the roster has changed. So I've got another year or 2 or 3 in me. We'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, you guys have been pretty consistent. I mean, yes, there were a couple breaks in between there, but I mean, they weren't these big, long gaps like where it's like, okay, well, we need some money to pay for the old age home, so let's go out and do a tour or something like that after 30 years. But I mean, you guys have been consistent. I mean, you just put an album out in 21, which is not too far back. But I mean, you guys have been working it for pretty much all of that 50 years.
Yeah, it comes down to our tagline, which is "We're still having fun," right? It's still the one has become our own anthem. So when it was fun, we would do it, and if it became really not fun, that's when people would get disgruntled, and then we'd say, "Let's not do this anymore." And it would go away for 2 or 3 years, as you say, and then there'd be reason to reconvene and say, "Oh, we like this," and it's a little like getting back with your girlfriend, and then after a while, you figure out why you broke up in the first place. And then and it falls apart, but you really are in love. So then you try it again. And so what? It's like that.
That's fantastic. Well, I admire you guys that you've been able to do that, and you've had some people come in. You've come in and out of the band and everything else. I mean, I was talking to the manager for Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and he said they've had more than 200 members come in and out through and it always works. But I mean, Orleans is just such an iconic band that is, been around. Certainly when I was growing up. I mean, I'm 63, so you were so hot back in the 70s when that was. I was going to Peaches to buy my records at Peaches Records and Tapes, and definitely was one of their things. And I guess now, what I've talked to some of these older bands, and I don't mean to insult you by saying that you're an older band, but that has had music that has been over decades, and they're seeing a lot of younger people coming into their audience and knowing their music and appreciating their music. Are you finding that too as well with the music of Orleans?
Yeah, absolutely. We're called, we're usually called like a legacy act. That's what they say about us. Bands from the 70s and such, we're still going. But, the primary audience is the boomers like me, and they come and they enjoy it, and it throws them back to their 20s and whatever, and there's a certain amount of nostalgia. But they're kids, which are now in their 40s, they come and they appreciate it, and they bring their kids who are, teenagers and even younger and 20s, and they've discovered it and appreciate it too. So that's very gratifying, and it's really kind of sweet when a kid, sub 10 comes and, is a fan already. So that's pretty cool.
And knows the words.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of knows the words, how about going to Japan, playing in Tokyo to 500 Japanese in their suits because they've come from work, and you sing Dance With Me and they all sing along. That's pretty cool.
That's got to be mind-blowing.
It was, yeah. We went to Japan twice, 91, 94. Yeah. And the thing about, unlike America, all the Japanese are Japanese.
Yeah.
And in America, we're all different. So it was quite a cultural experience.
Well, you've traveled all the world. You've traveled, big stadiums and small rooms and stuff like that. Ram's Head, as you know, is a much smaller room. I mean, it's got a capacity of about 300. Do you have a preference to large or small?
These days, I really enjoy the smaller rooms. 200-300 seats, performing arts centers, large clubs, that kind of thing. Even smaller clubs, because it's like a big living room, and especially when we're just by ourselves, like we will be at Ram's Head, it lends itself to not having to rush. And I've kind of developed a show that really works, and just saying enough, telling enough stories, not boring people, but just connecting all the dots as we go, so that by the end, people get, oh, that's how you got from 1972 to 2025. I get it. So, yeah, I really like these small rooms.
Personally, I like a show that's like that sits there and talks to me. When I first started going to concerts and stuff like that, okay, and here they are, they get out, you play for, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, song, go off, clap, come back, song, leave. And there was really not much into it. And I appreciate that when you can sit there and say, okay, well, this is what we were thinking about. This is, this is how it came. I mean, I think it really adds something to that. And certainly you take away a lot more than just, hey, I saw a great concert. Right.
So contrast that with a gig we're going to do the next night in Selbyville, Delaware. It's a 4-act show with those who we normally work with, Firefall, Atlanta Rhythm Section, Pure Prairie League. And our set is 35 minutes. So there's not any time to talk. There's like time to play 6-7 songs and you're done. And so that's okay. It's fine. And I like 35 minutes and get your check and go home. But and give the audience, a good show. But it's not anything like what you can do given 90 minutes in a small place.
Face to face, sure. I'll tell you, well, people talk an awful lot. I mean, Still the One is probably one of your hits that people talk about the most. But is there a song in your catalog that you personally really wish got some more love?
I think one of the mistakes that was made early on, and this was a big bone of contention between John and Larry, after Still the One was a big hit. And you got to understand, so Dance With Me, John and Johanna Hall wrote the lion's share of our material, although, Larry wrote a bunch, and he wrote Love Takes Time and all that. Wells contributed some songs. And but when it came to Dance With Me, Still the One, those particular songs, the lead vocal was out of John's range. So he didn't sing the lead, and that was Larry's voice. And it was a combination of the writing and Larry's voice, along with, background vocal thing and the guitars, all that stuff. But that was the winning combination. After Still the One was a hit, Larry really wanted Spring Fever to be the next single, which would have made a lot of sense because it sounded more like Dance With Me and Still the One than what John insisted was released, which was Reach a little bit higher. And it kind of failed. It was a regional hit in the Carolinas, but it didn't do more. And Spring Fever would have actually, because of the radio cycles, it would have peaked in the spring of 77. So that was a kind of a missed opportunity when you talk about, giving some love to something. There's other material that, I really love that nobody's really ever heard. The later albums that kind of went the wayside for one reason or another. We just resurrected a song that I like from a Ride album, 1995, called Earth Out Tonight, not Moon Out Tonight, Earth Out Tonight. And that's one of the things we've just recut for this upcoming compilation.
I'll tell you, you've seen the music. I mean, we're going back 50 years when you guys first started in the 70s, and now here we are in 2025, and you've seen so much change in the industry. I mean, what about today's music scene do you absolutely hate and love?
I'm not one for social media. I mean, I get it, but I was never a fan. And of course, it emerged, and I went, oh my God. I was good at email marketing and talking, writing and communicating that way with our fan base and our lists and all that. But then I saw social media, and I realized, this is going to totally replace that. And of course, it's become quite ugly.
Sure.
It has its pros, but a lot of cons. And so that's a thing I don't much enjoy. We have a Facebook page, and I go there occasionally, and I do a little video, and I it's not that I don't love the fan base or don't want it to. It's not on my radar. It's not something I partake in a lot. So there's that. And what do I love? I love playing out. My thing is live performance, and not only with Orleans, but with a lot of different acts that I've had the blessing to be working with, and do like on the side, secondarily, to and just as importantly as my career in Orleans.
As the guy that's been there the longest, I mean, you've been from the start to through the breaks and now and everything else. I mean, you're kind of the glue that holds it all together. And is that something that the band, the rest of the artists in the band, come to you? I mean, do they lean on you to be the constant rock to keep this all together?
Well, yeah, I do see myself as the link to the authenticity of it, right? If I were not here, then there would be no point in having Orleans, because then it's just truly, guys pretending to be Orleans. The fact that my brother Lane's been with me 26 years, well, there's another kind of authentic nature. But it's, when John retired and I became the last guy standing, I felt the need I got something to prove here, to prove that it's worthy of continuing. And thankfully, it's worked out that way. And I say that because the audiences reflect it back to me. They really, when you get standing ovations most nights, that says we're doing something right. The guys recognize that. They recognize, and I'm a fair leader, but I'm demanding, and I want things just right. And they appreciate that. They're also like, I write the paychecks, right? So that's how that goes. I'm really a stickler about presenting Orleans with class, with dignity, with authenticity to the history, and to keep the standards really high as we continue with the musical thread that's always been there.
Sounds to me like you're trying to keep Larry's legacy alive, which is a beautiful thing.
When Larry passed very suddenly, very tragically, actually, in July of 2012, it was like, wow, catastrophic. And I had to think quickly under pressure. And we had about 8 more shows to do that year. What I did not want to do was disappear. I just didn't want to fold because too many people depended on completion. The band itself, the management agency team, the promoters, and the fan base, right? So I figured with help from the alumni, the guys who'd come and gone, including John coming back from his stint in Congress, that we could do these shows somehow and it would be fine. And then we could put it away. And so that's what we did. We finished those shows in November 2012, and I figured 40 years were done. That's okay with me. I'll figure out what's next. That's when I got a phone call from the guy who would become our next manager, who said, if you want a tour for next year, I've got one for you. And that became what they called the Sail Rock Tour of 2013, of course, because Yacht Rock was already taken. But Orleans was the house band. We played behind, we did our own 5-song set, but we played behind Christopher Cross, Gary Wright, Firefall, John Ford Coley, Robbie Dupree, Player, Al Stewart, everybody, and everybody did 3 to 5 songs. We backed everybody. It was a 2-hour show of nonstop hits, and that's what put us back on the map, which led us to being able to be here in 2025. But yeah, people know, a lot of people know Larry's, like, they know him, they know that, like, they know about him in terms of us. If they don't, they know his voice. And it's part of what I'm talking about on stage. Like, when we get to that point of the show where it's time to kind of acknowledge that, his passing and how that works, we have a special song that works really well for that he and I wrote. It was our last song that we wrote together. So, yeah, I like to keep that alive. It's important to me. Not in a way like, okay, so Leonard Skinner always puts a mic stand out there, and for the ones that have gone away. I mean, it's not, we're not that morbid about it, but I get that they are preserving the past, just like in a way we are as well.
Lance, I'll tell you, is there a song that when you guys hop on stage, for you personally, that you may have performed it 1,000 times or 10,000 times, but it still gets you going?
It's hard to pinpoint. I mean, there's something special about, we get to still the one at the end, and, people, if they've been sitting down the whole show, well, suddenly everybody's up, and that's kind of a big deal. And none of us predicted what that song would become or mean. It's actually one of the most licensed songs ever for TV, movies, and commercials, and political campaigns, and all. So it's become a piece of Americana.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it was a ABC TV theme song for 2 years, 77, 78. It was the Australian ABC theme song, and it's just been used by everybody from Burger King to Toyota to local banks and Nutrisystem and whatever. It's been everywhere, and people know that song. If they don't maybe know even Orleans, they just know that song, and so that's kind of that's pretty much a milestone there.
I'll tell you, well, Lance, this has been fantastic, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day today to talk with us. And again, one last reminder for everyone that's listening: Orleans will be at Ram's Head on stage, one show only, on Saturday, June 28th. It's going to be a great night of their hits, the harmonies and the memories. And tickets are available now at ramsheadonstage.com. And I would say get them now as soon as you're done listening to this, because only a few remain. And for all things Orleans, and I do mean all things, because your website is probably one of the most comprehensive band websites I've ever seen. It's orleansonline.net. And Lance, again, thank you so much. Safe travels, and we're going to see you in Annapolis in about 10 days.
Yeah, please come say hi.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
goes on, like a song that is never still. I'll sing that song to the emptiness I'll never fill. I don't need your photograph to see your face in front of me. We may never touch again, but you're here in this melody. What once was will always be, and you've left your imprint on me. Sometimes I think it's the spark of conflict with which we affect most heavily. But I hope if you think of me, you'll remember only harmony. And time passes on, like a river that must always run. Now you are gone, but I will have you till time is done. You can never take away the love you gave me yesterday. And I don't have to capture you, 'cause you're here in my memory.
This has been a bonus podcast from Ion Annapolis. Please visit us at ionannapolis.net. Follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Ion Annapolis. And if you haven't subscribed to the Daily News Brief podcast, go for it. And all of your local news will be delivered to your phone, tablet, or smart device by 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday.